All right, we're going to look at the glow plugs on this 2003 Jetta TDI with the ALH 1.9 liter diesel. First thing you need to do is take the 3 bolts out. So there's 10 millimeter bolts, 1, 2, 3 on your silly plastic cover, and you pull it up. I've taken the bolts out, then you pull it up over your, pull your dipstick out and pull the cover off. Set it to the side. I'm not going to show that step because if you're going to attempt this, you should know how to take a plastic cover off. The glow plugs on these motors are, let me zoom in for you. There's this black plastic thing running across. That's the glow plug. It's like a wiring harness. It's almost like a spark plug boot that has 4 terminals coming off of it, 1 for each glow plug. Now these things are fairly expensive. They're like 80 bucks to replace. Sometimes they're faulty. They're quite brittle, so be careful taking them off. You just pull them off kind of like spark plug boots. You reach underneath and you just pop them off the glow plugs. You hear them pop off. Just be gentle because these things are somewhat delicate and they do tend to break, and they tend to fail over time too. I'm hoping this one's good. If it's not, you can either replace them, the harness that is, the black thing, or you can. There's ways where you can make your own harness with some wire. So if this one's faulty, I'll be doing another video on that. But hopefully this one's good. There's some other videos on the web you can check out with other guys who have replaced this harness here with some wire and terminals, and it works fine. You may be getting a check engine light. Sometimes bad glow plug or a bad harness will throw a check engine light. Sometimes it won't. It's a good idea to replace these glow plugs every once in a while anyway. They're not that expensive. I picked 4 up. 4 NGK units from Rock Auto for about 8 bucks each. So that's like the cost of a spark plug. If you go to the VW dealer, they might be a bit more. For some diesel engines, you can be $40-50 or more for glow plugs. Then it gets expensive. But on these, $7, $8, or $9 each. Just replace them. They're cheap and they're available. NGK, like I said, about 8 bucks each. Not a big deal. There's the new one. There's the part number, NGK 5909. All right. So these pop off. Just be careful again. And there it is right there, it's off. You can see this one looks like it's in pretty good shape, although sometimes it's hard to tell just by looking. If it's breaking apart or cracked anywhere, you might need to replace it or jerry-rig something different in there. You can just set it to the side, it's out of the way. Now just like spark plugs, you can take the glow plugs out. It's a 10 millimeter, so get a 10 millimeter ratchet and an extension, and you can go right on top of that glow plug and just back them out. This one's coming out really easy. If there's ever any binding with a spark plug, especially into aluminum or a glow plug, and you're backing it out and it gets stiff, don't keep pulling on it. Don't keep cranking it because you're going to do damage to the threads in the aluminum. Crank it back in and then work it back out again. And work it back and forth, maybe spray a little bit of PB Blaster or some other spray lubricant in there designed to break up rust, and just work it back and forth. But don't force it. If you're taking something out and it gets stiff, that's a bad sign. Turn it clockwise back in, and then try again. Back and forth, work it out a little bit more each time. This one's coming out really nice though. It's really loose. It's already just finger tight. These are really accessible on these TDIs. It's very easy, easier than changing spark plugs on most vehicles. Come on out of there. There's quite a few threads in them. Come on, you. Come on out. Holy cow. Okay. So that's what it looks like. Okay, it's kind of burnt because it's been in there for a while. Repeat that 4 times, and then we'll look at the new ones. All right, we got the 4 old glow plugs here, and the 4 new ones. See, the old ones are dark because they've been in there a while. The new ones, looks like they maybe been tested in the factory. They've got some heat marks on them, but they're nice and shiny and new. Same thread, same size, same everything. The original ones are Bosch. These might be original, or maybe they were replaced at some point in time by a VW dealer or an individual. NGK are good. They're a little bit cheaper, $7-8 each. We can test the old ones. I got 12 volts here, battery charger. Put negative power to the ground there and positive to the terminal here. And if they're working, the glow plugs will heat up. See, that's why they're called glow plugs, because they glow. So the old ones are working. Set this one to the side here. Try a new one. Negative to the ground. That's where the plug screws into the head. And we'll put positive to the terminal here. And you can see the new one heats up in the same way. So the old ones might not even be bad. It's hard to know. But at the price, $7-8 each, you're better off just replacing them. Then you know. Right? Test the other 3 old ones. That one seems to be okay. Of course, it's also possible that under certain conditions, maybe these ones don't heat up so well. Maybe in certain temperatures, or at certain times they don't heat up, and the new ones might be an improvement. But the biggest thing is you eliminate the possibility at the price point. Eliminate the chance that one of these is bad or it's going to go bad soon, and put 4 new ones in. So that's what we're going to do. Worst case scenario, we're not making any improvement, but we're perhaps eliminating a potential future problem by throwing the 4 new ones in. All right, time to put the new ones in. So just like a spark plug, thread it down into the cylinder. Try not to touch any dirt or anything on the way down. You don't want to spill any dirt into the cylinders or get any dirt on the threads if you can help it. Dirt or grease or grime or whatever. Thread it in by hand as much as possible. You do not want to cross thread these, just like you do not want to cross thread a spark plug. You can turn a 20-minute job into a 20-hour job pretty quickly. There is a torque spec on these. I'm just going to do them tight, but not too tight. I recommend you look up the torque spec. So we'll repeat that 4 times. For the number 1 cylinder over here, there's this little vacuum ball that mounts to this bracket. It was kind of in the way of getting that glow plug out. So there's just a little 7mm bolt here I pulled out just to get this vacuum ball out of the way. So we'll repeat that 4 times and then pop on the harness again. Okay, finally all 4 are back in. Now we'll pop the harness back on. I'm going to put a little bit of dielectric grease up under each terminal. Just a little dab on my finger. Just up under the terminal, which will then, I'll just kind of stick it in there like that. You see that? And then when we pop it down onto the plug, it'll make, if we ever have to take these plugs out again, it'll just make it a little easier to pop that harness back up. So I'm going to do that on each of the 4 terminals, protect the terminals a little bit, make things a little bit easier to pop off in the future. We'll reattach our little vacuum ball here with that little bolt, and put the crazy plastic cover back on, and we're done. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have easy starting with your TDI. Thanks to new glow plugs.